Good morning, guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, first of all, I haven't made one of these videos in a minute, but, ooh, ching, ching, money coming true. So, yeah, so I decided to make this video whilst I'm sitting waiting. I'm doing my glucose test. Oh, listen, I hate this test. But from what I could remember, it wasn't as bad. Um, when I remember doing it with Achilles, and it was horrible. I had to drink this thing, but it was like the syrup. It tasted like syrup, but this one wasn't as bad. It had like a little lemon aftertaste, so it wasn't as bad. So then I have to go back in an hour to check my sugar to make sure I don't have gestational diabetes, and I'm praying to God it comes back negative. I'm always concerned about that because diabetes run really, deep in my gene and in my family. So with that being said, I want to touch on two things today. First of all, I just want to encourage everybody, sending love, sending encouragement. Um, It's so hard right now to want to encourage people with everything that I see going on. It's so discouraging. I've come to the realization that human beings are just they they're just designed to be evil. That's it. They don't want to be better. They make bad choices. They're comfortable with it. They don't like being in a good space. They don't like happiness. They don't like peace. So I'm beginning to realize this more and more with all the events and activities that I see going on daily, especially after that election. I really I and I had to really pray about it, and because I got in this mood like I don't want to help anybody anymore. I don't want to encourage anybody anymore. I don't want to be supportive to people because they don't support themselves. They don't want to help themselves. Why waste my energy and time? So I had to really pray on it and meditate on it. God's still dealing with me. I'm not over it. But with that being said, um, and guys, I just get shot of breath. I have some questions. Y'all don't judge me. At least I don't care if y'all judge me. I'm just curious. Um, a friend of mine, their significant other, brother passed away, and they sent this GoFundMe thing to me, and they said if I could support it and share it with other people. The person unalived themselves, and so when I saw it, I was like, "Wow, that's really sad and whatever." But I didn't understand what the GoFundMe was for. So I asked my son, because, he's way younger than me, but he's so wise. And, they know things that we don't know, they know a lot of stuff that we don't know. So I asked him, I said, is, like, is GoFundMe for funerals a thing? And he was like, yeah, mommy, a lot of people do it to raise money for funerals. And I'm like, why? So he's like, I don't know, maybe, they need assistance and stuff like that. So they do GoFundMes to raise money for, the lighting on this, to raise money to bury the person. So I was like, when did that become a thing? Because in my culture, if somebody dies, either they have, the insurance, national insurance, whatever, to cover the burial, or the families get together and bury the person. I've never heard of people begging other people that they don't know, begging other people that they don't know from around the world to bury their family member. And I felt sorry for the way the person passed away, but I was a little bit annoyed by it, because why would you ask me to support a GoFundMe to bury somebody I do not know. I don't know them from nowhere in the world. I don't know how they live their life. I have no connection to them whatsoever. But I'm just supposed to deposit money into this account for you to bury this person. And so I got to thinking, so whilst this person was living, they didn't think they were going to die someday. They didn't prepare themselves. They didn't have a life insurance. They didn't have a burial insurance. These things are offered every day. Life insurance is extremely cheap in a lot of places. Burial insurance, you can get it I know here you can get burial insurance for like $10, $12 a month, depending on what plan you get. They didn't do anything with their monies to prepare for the day that they're supposed to exit. So now you're going to ask total strangers who knew nothing about this person to now pay to bury them. I have a huge problem with this GoFundMe for funerals. I have a huge problem with it. People may get angry at me for saying it. I really don't care. But I have a huge problem with people asking people around the world who don't know your family member, who don't know how they live their life, how they dealt with their finances, how they prepared themselves, what they did with their funds when they got funds. They don't know any of this about this person, but you just want us to take our hard-earned money and deposit it in this account to bury a total stranger. How is that my business? How is that my business? That don't have nothing to do with me. I feel like funerals are a personal thing that should be taken care of by the family. Why are y'all putting these GoFundMes for funeral service for people we don't know? Now, it's a difference if the person, let's say the person died in another country and you're trying to transport them home and you're incurring additional expenses. That's a difference. And even with that, there should be some ways you could get help. But I don't understand why people are out here making these GoFundMes for funerals. It's not my business. I don't know how this person lived their life. This person didn't contribute to my life in no way. Why am I taking monies that could go into paying for my burial, paying for my life insurance, paying for my funeral insurance, to pay for somebody I don't know? So people, as you go about your daily life and you invested in all the finer things in life, get yourself some burial insurance, eh? Get yourself some life insurance so you don't have to be doing these GoFundMes to pay for your funeral. We can die, people, we can die. That's a part of life. We can live and we can die. So include that in your planning, say. Include your exit in your plan. Ain't none of us come to be here forever. Include your exit in your planning, because it's unfair to be getting on this internet asking people who don't know anything about you, don't know anything about how you live your life, to pay for your burial. You could have made thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars and splurged the whole time you was on this earth. Didn't help anybody, didn't invest in anything, didn't make no kind of sensible contribution to this life, but you want me to pay to bury you? I don't get it. So my son said that's kind of harsh way to think, but I'm okay with that, because my job is to make sure he don't have to do a GoFundMe for me. And so that was point number one. Point number two. There's this girl who plays basketball. She's a Bahamian girl from Freeport, and she plays basketball. She's been doing very well. And even though she's given up her, it's hot right now, even though she's given up her citizenship for the Bahamas, she still represents the Bahamas, and she's still, everything she does, she wants the world to know that she's Bahamian. So I went on to my phone the other day, and the first thing that popped up was a bunch of negative, nasty comments and stuff written by Bahamians about this girl, because she went to Freeport. I guess they invited her there for whatever, and she went to school and she took her significant other, which happens to be of the same sex, and she introduced her. And this person is very instrumental in her life, in that they've really helped her and supported her throughout her career and helping her get her achievements and whatever. Who knows the depth of what transpired between them? But this is the person that is closest to her, that she loves, that supports her, that's her support system, whatever. And she introduced this her person. And oh my God, the things that I read, I sat there and I was just appalled. And I said, if I die and God says, Nadia, what do you want to come back as? You could come back as any nationality you want to. I would still want to be Bahamian. I would always want to be Bahamian. But with that being said, my people, my Bahamian people, are some of the most hypocritical, wickedest, most hateful, disgusting people I have ever crossed. It is a shame. Sometimes I be ashamed to say I'm Bahamian the way we behave. And that is why I take my resources most times. I take my energy and my time, and I invest in other countries. You know why? Because a prophet has no honor in his own hometown. No matter what you do as a Bahamian, they will look for the smallest detail to try to bring you down, because the same people who write and have all this to say didn't do shit with their life. And so when you step outside of the Bahamas and you become someone, they always looking for a loophole to tear you down. And all these people writing and having all of this to say. And I smiled to myself and I said, I wish these people who on this internet saying all this negative shit about this girl, that's her sexual preference, and who she chooses to love don't have nothing to do with us. Nothing. If I want to love 1,000 women, that's my business. If I want to love 1,000 men, that's my business. I didn't ask nobody to be their children role model. That's the problem we have. We always looking to put our responsibility on someone else so we don't have to be held accountable. She never asked to be none of y'all children role model. Y'all busy looking for popular, famous people to be your children role model so y'all could be shitty parents to your children and you don't have to be accountable. You should be your children role model. And they get on there, don't bring this gay thing, don't bring, and all of this stuff. And I am smiling at myself because there's plenty homosexuals in the Bahamas. These children are already used to this. They're exposed to it. They already know. So why y'all acting like everybody have a homosexual in their family? 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not a new thing. It's been around forever. So why y'all acting like it's brand new? And we so trying to protect our children. Why don't y'all Bahamians protect y'all children from all these predators? Y'all have these men in these communities who run through a generation of young girls. Before they was even able to have breasts properly, they was already being raped and molested and experiencing incest. Nobody vocal about it. Everybody walk by like it doesn't exist and it never happened. I could assure you, 8 out of every, maybe 8, maybe 9, maybe 10 out of every freaking Bahamian young woman experienced some form of sexual harassment, some form of molestation or incest, and it just gets sweeps under the rug. Nobody's vocal about it. Nobody talks about it. Why don't we talk about all these young men, these big grown men who having relations with these little boys, these little young men, taking advantage of them? A lot of that going on in the Bahamas. Y'all are not vocal about it. I don't hear everybody going crazy talking about that. Let's talk about the abuse that goes on in that country. The abuse, the physical abuse so many women suffer through daily, married to these Bahamian men. We don't hear anything about it. No laws to protect them. No laws to protect children. No laws to protect these young girls. No laws to protect these little boys. No laws. At least none would worth mentioning. He get a little Marco law, but what the hell does that do? Look how that boy suffered. Huh? Y'all be vocal for 1 minute and then that's it. But oh, no. If a gay thing happened, everybody got to speak up. Why nobody speaking up about how these politicians is go into the house broke, and in a month's time they millionaires, owning everything, taking our hard-earned money and living the life, and the Bahamians still suffering. Y'all don't be vocal about that. Y'all don't be vocal about that. No, because that's common sense, and it means that you have to actually think. It means that you have to actually pick up a book and read and process, and not just sit down and gossip and figure out ways to tear each other down. It's so sad. It's so sad. It's so sad. And the things that y'all have so much to say about, y'all have so much to speak on, it's things that don't even concern y'all really. But the things that concern us as a nation, we're very quiet on it. We're not talking about all the violence daily. This one shoot down, that one shoot down. We're not talking about that on a daily basis. The violence the Bahamas experience. My little island experiencing shootouts. Eleuthera, Lower Bogue, Upper Bogue, these areas. You never heard of this when I was growing up. My husband always call me when I'm recording. You never heard of these things. But it is happening now on my island. We're not vocal. We're not vocal about these things. Everybody in posting a video and talking about it. We're not. The amount of homeless people in Freeport, the amount of people who don't have food and monies and the necessities they need to take care of their families. We're not vocal about that. We're not out there picketing and making videos and blowing up Facebook talking about these things. I wish we would be more vocal. Right in my community where I grew up, so much friggin' pedophiles. And they get away with it. They walk around, they in the church, they every goddamn where. Nobody talk about it. Nobody talk about all these young girls who get their virginity taken away by force. That's rape. Don't talk about these things. Y'all ain't vocal about that. But this girl who's doing something positive with her life, you just try to tear her down. But I could tell you, as I sit here, and I can end this because it's almost time for me to go. As I sit here, and I keep getting hot, starting to sweat. As I sit here, I would not invest my resources. I would not take my time and my energy to give back in no positive way to the Bahamas. I will go to Bangladesh before, because you know why? Y'all nasty, bad mind Bahamians will find a way to pick that apart and say something negative. No matter how much good you do for Bahamians, they will find something negative to say about that. And that is why y'all keep losing all y'all good people. That's why everybody keep migrating to other places and taking their talents and their resources other places, because Bahamians are the worst hypocritical people. And y'all love to talk about God. Y'all have plenty God talk, but no God action. Plenty God talk. Cannot beat Bahamians talking about God. But in the same breath you're talking about God, you bringing somebody down. You bringing down that brother, you bringing down that sister. You wishing bad on them. You saying negative stuff about them. And if you notice, most of the people who have something to say ain't got shit going on. When you look at their track record, when you say, bring me your portfolio, when you go through their portfolio, it's nothing interesting. You just sit there and look and try to pick everything apart. Look for all the negative in a person. So if y'all want to be vocal about something, be vocal about those things I mentioned. The Bahamas is full of rapists, pedophiles, murderers, incest, a lot of incest. All these things we could be vocal about. Let's make better laws for children to protect our kids. Let's make better laws to protect women. How many women get raped on a daily basis in the Bahamas, and they can't even report it because some of the same people who they reported to the police officers is the one who raping them. We ain't vocal about these things. We ain't vocal. How many of these women suffering spousal abuse, suffering like dog, but can't get no help? Instead of helping them, they videotape it and put it on the camera and put it all over whatever. I just watched a video where this guy was beating this girl so bad in the car, and the comments the Bahamian women had to say about her, I couldn't believe it. So many people were so happy it was happening, but we're not vocal about these things. Y'all need to do better. Y'all really need to do better. Hypocrites.